We are nothing sacred. We are nothing sacred. We are nothing sacred.
With Maxwell Silverhammer.
We are nothing sacred. With cruise control. We are nothing sacred.
Oh, yes, we're here again.
Yes,
Welcome
we
to Nothing
are.
Sacred.
This is the Nothing Sacred interview. I am Cruise Control.
And I'm Maxwell Silverhammer, and in the house with us, we have Chief Bradley Taylor from Hazen, Arkansas. Welcome, man.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me here.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us. We know you got a busy schedule. You're a busy man, obviously, as a sheriff or chief. Is it chief or sheriff? Does it make a difference?
It's Chief.
Chief.
Yeah, there's a difference. Everybody out there says, oh, it's Sheriff Taylor, and I guess they're going back to the Andy Griffin show or whatever. They had Sheriff Taylor, but no, I'm not the sheriff. That's a whole different position and a whole another ball of wax, but I'm the chief.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're the chief. Well,
and you know what? We got to, like we do with all first
Absolutely.
responders, military, man, we got to thank you for your service, first of all.
Yeah, thank you very much for doing what you do. A lot of people can't do that. I know I wouldn't be able to. I don't have the mindset for that kind of job. And I know a lot of other people don't. So we really appreciate you doing that and taking care of something that's definitely necessary and not really appreciated much as it should be in today's society, in my opinion. So thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, give us a little rundown on your history. You told me some interesting stuff when we talked on the phone about your career as the chief. So talk about that a little bit.
Man, guys, I guess I was just doomed or destined or whatever you call it. My father was a law enforcement officer. He was a state trooper here in the state of Arkansas for 35 or 37 years. So me and my two brothers, there's three of us, and we kind of grew up, in law enforcement. And then so as we got older, I guess it was passed down to us or whatever you want to call it. But me and my two brothers, which they're younger than me, and I started getting into law enforcement first, and then my middle brother, he got into law enforcement, and then my younger brother, now he's in law enforcement. So between, all of us and my dad, and then now I'm getting a little bit older, and I've had two older children, and both of them are in law enforcement now. So,
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a third generation thing at this point with the family. And, which y'all say y'all couldn't do it or anything like that. But man, I look at these guys that are out here working on the city, doing all this water work, gas work, different things. And I'm like, man, guys, I couldn't do that. I'd rather be shot at than that down there in that hole 100 degrees digging ditches.
It's all relative, I guess, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I don't, but as far as, like we've talked, I've been doing this. This is my 26th year. And I got the chief's position in DeVal's Bluff back in probably 2003. I stayed there 6 years, and then I come over here to Hazen. And, I've been the boss for about 20 years now, and my turnover rate, my guys, is very slim to none. A lot of agencies are having a lot of turnover rate, a lot of people leaving, a lot of people doing different things. But I get out here and work just like the guys. And I think that's a lot of hard for a lot of people that don't live in this area, don't live around here to believe, just because I have a chief that, My title is chief, but all that means is I'm the first person when things go bad that somebody wants to answer from,
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's not that I'm really the big boss over anybody. I make most of the decisions, but even some of the small stuff, man, these guys are good at what they do, and we all just put our heads together. I always ask for opinions because, somebody else may have something a little bit better than what I got, and we roll with it.
That's
Okay.
wild.
So you said you started in a different location, but it was a small location as well, because your Hazen is a very small city, right? Of like a couple.
Yes, sir. DeVal's Bluff is the next town over, and it's I think they probably got 600 or 800 people in that small town.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you started off in there, so you didn't go and haven't actually experienced a larger city or anything like that. You kind of, your experience has always been in a small town type of area.
No, sir. I started off at Stuttgart PD back in 1997. I started in 97 at Stuttgart PD down there. That's probably about the biggest city. And Stuttgart's probably 10,000 people. I don't know what their population is now. It's 8 to 10,000 people. And Stuttgart's only 19 miles from here. And then I went to the sheriff's office, worked at Prairie County, and then I went to Devall's Bluff and then Hazen. So I've never experienced a large department. And I grew up here. I went to high school. I went to school, elementary school here, high school here. So there's nobody in Hazen, Devall's Bluff, Bisco, or Desart, even in this, the whole county, all the towns in the county. If you ask them who's Bradley Taylor, they're going to know me or know my cell phone number. So it works really well.
That's funny. We got some questions on Facebook, and one of them was from Wanda, and she said, ask the chief if he's originally from Arkansas. I have family from Kentucky, and I'm familiar with the Southern accent, but his Southern accent is the strongest Southern accent I've ever heard. It's charming and disarming. He handles very well.
I talk just like everybody else around here. It throws me off. Now I do have a deep voice, but it just carries, and I'm loud, and I think a lot of my loudness comes from I'm starting to get hard of hearing from shooting guns all these years and not wearing the proper ear protection and things like that. As most of us guys do until we get old. Like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna need hearing aids.
Oh man,
yeah, that's a problem with us. We do stupid things and we don't realize how it's going to affect you later on. And then
you're right. Yeah, exactly.
It's interesting though, because like growing up in a place where everybody, especially in a town of 600, 800, and then going into a place where everyone knows you. I'm sure you've seen you pulled over people who you went to school with. You've dealt with people who a lot of police officers don't do that, especially in larger areas. They don't know anybody. That's one of the problems with larger areas is that no one knows anybody. But it must be interesting, dealing with people and having to interact with people that you've actually grown up with and having to actually discipline them or deal with them because of the things that they're doing and having seen that. Is that interesting? That must be interesting. How hard is that to do to know you've known people all your life or see people all the time and then you have to deal with them in that different way?
That's where the community policing comes in. That's is so wonderful that we have here. And yes, it's hard sometimes because I've arrested friends, but when you get into law enforcement, your friends circle dwindles. It goes down because not everybody wants to friend law enforcement, or I call us police, and nobody wants to hang out with the police, different things like that. But if you're fair in what you do, and this is my big thing, and I try and teach the young guys, we're a small community. We have elementary school together. We have grandparents' day. We have ball games, whether it be football, baseball, or even just going to the grocery store. These people that you're going to deal with in the local community, you're going to deal with them on a daily basis, and you got to go to the grocery store with these people. So be fair. Don't let your badge get heavy. Don't let it. Don't you think that you're better than anybody else when you put that badge on? You just do your job. You do it fair, and over time, people will respect you. And man, most of the time, we're just fair to everybody, even these guys. If we write you a ticket, we're not coming up there. One of the things that just drives me crazy when you hear a cop going, "Well, do you know why I stopped you?" Well, right there at that point, you're opening up just an argument, and don't do that.
Yeah.
Like, hey, tell them who you are. State of Arkansas requires us to tell them who we are, what agency we work for, and things like that. And as soon as we walk up to the car, pretty much, and we all go through a routine. And I've taught these young guys to do that. I said, because it'll keep you out of court. And that's the big thing. Most of the young guys got crappy days off, and most time they end up in court on their days off. So treat all these people fair. If you've got to take somebody to jail, then you take them to jail and say, it's not personal, it's just business. You did wrong. You need to understand that. And I have never, I might have lost a friend or two in 26 years of doing this because of that. But I have had a lot more that were on drugs that I knew. And I've told them, I said, hey, you're going to hate me today for me locking you up and send you to jail. But one of these days, you're going to come back to me and thank me and give me a hug. And I've had more than both hands can count that I've done that to. And those people still come back and say, you saved my life. And if I could just have only done that one time in my career, it was worth every bit of me doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Well, I find what I like about you is it seems like everybody you interact with, it's always positive. You're always laughing with them. Like the lady you talked about being fair with people, like the one that you told her, hey, if I find this weed on you, I'm just going to stomp it out and destroy it as long as it's nothing major. And you did that and let her go.
Right.
That was awesome.
Yeah. And that, that's, if you do something, you say you're going to do something, you better do it. You got to be a man, you're a man of you got to be a man of your word. You can't crawfish on your word. And the only thing you got as a man, in my opinion, is you got your word and a handshake, and both of them better be good. Man. So, and that's the way we conduct business here now. And back to the small town policing, guys, it's dealing with the people like that is really not the hardest part. It's when somebody that passes away, or a child in your community, and those are the things that get to you, and those are the things that keeps you up at night, and weighs heavy on your heart.
That must be that's an interesting wrinkle in that, is that a lot of, like, let's say someone from a larger community or larger police office, policing department, they don't have to go to see people that they know. Like when they go to a, like I say, someone deceased or an issue where someone's in danger and they pass away, they have issues with PTSD and other things as well already from these experiences. But having to deal with people that you've actually known for your life and interact with in other ways because you're such a small community, that must be, wow, that definitely is something I haven't thought about. Like how crazy is that to know somebody's family and then have to go and deal with that face to face, while it's happening. And I'm sure that's happened multiple times over your career.
Oh yeah. And that's the hard part. That's it. And everybody's like, man, these guys are out here, and you probably get a lot of Facebook questions about, us being on the interstate, working the interstate and different things like that. Man, I've worked hundreds of fatality accidents on that interstate, where it being, old people, middle-aged people, young people, all the way down to children and infants. And it's just, I want, the best I could put it is you put it in a box and you try and just box it up and you don't take it home, because sometimes it's hard, especially when, I've had a few that I can recall very vividly. And guys, most time, daggum, I can't tell you what I had for lunch yesterday. Some days we're so busy. But those accidents like that, I had a few that had, one of my boys were a young age, and they were about the same age as the children that got killed. Man, that knocks you down for a few days. But, you got to box it up and put it to the side and keep on rolling, because tomorrow's a different day. But guys, I've been in a position where I had to tell my best friend in high school his son had passed away.
Oh man.
That's, and the bad thing, and a lot of people love social media and stuff. Man, I was fighting time on trying to get to him before it got posted on social media.
Oh, before he saw it on social media. Yeah.
And things like that, that's the hard part. And those are things that I'll never, and his son was the same age as my son, and I'll never forget that. It's those are the tough times in policing in a small community, is trying to tell somebody and that you love that their child's gone.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, that's crazy. I want to ask you too, is Hazen a big tourist attraction by chance? Just because I see a lot of the people you pull over are not from there. They're passing through.
Well, no, it's at the interstate. It's I-40. We got the interstate that runs out there, and the city limits has about 24 miles of that interstate in it. And the kind of deal on that is Arkansas, the troopers are split up into different troops, which, like A, B, C, D, E through, I don't know, H or whatever it is. But we're on the edge of where Troop A, which is a Little Rock area, all the way out to our county line. And then Troop D, which is at the Ark County line, goes all the way to Memphis. Well, where we're at situated is absolutely we're kind of a little closer to Little Rock than we are Memphis, but we're almost in the middle between Little Rock and Memphis, Tennessee. Well, you got traffic coming from I-30 that comes to Little Rock, all the way from Texas up to Little Rock on I-30. And then you got from California, Colorado, Oklahoma, I-40 that comes across there, and I-40 and I-30 meet in Little Rock.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the only way to get to Memphis, Tennessee is come I-40. Those two interstates meet in Little Rock to get over to the East Coast. Well, you got to come down I-40, which travels right through the middle of Hazen. So, and then they can go north and south and east, whichever way they want to go. Once they get to Memphis, they can split up to the different directions. But all that traffic gets bottlenecked down to 4 lanes right here, and it comes right through here. So those are where you're seeing all the people that aren't from here traveling through different things like that. And we're out there working at interstate on criminal interdiction and things like that.
Man, wow. So how'd you get on Patrol Live?
I was just going to ask that.
Yeah,
that was the same vibe. So how did all that get started? And and what were your thoughts when you first? Let's just tell us how it got started. What were your thoughts when you first got the opportunity or got the offer?
Man, it was kind of crazy. I guess when the YouTube stuff kind of picked up, a lot of our videos, pursuit videos, there's some videos of me changing tires out there on YouTube and different things like that. I guess some of them got sent in to where somebody were sending videos into On Patrol Live.
Mm-hmm.
And a guy contacted me or sent me an email, and we kind of communicated a little bit. The next thing, he wanted to know some information about who it was and this and that, just kind of so they could do the story. Well, I think we aired once or twice on Crime of the Week when it was before they changed up some of the stuff to where it's called. Can't even remember what it's called now.
I think it is Crime of the Week. Yeah.
Yeah. Something like Crime of the Week. We aired on that, a pursuit or something like that. Everybody likes watching Arkansas pursuits or whatever. So then we just got to one of the producers up here in New York. We kind of got to texting back and forth and just communicating. I'd be sitting at home on a Friday night watching the show, and we'd be talking, and he'd be in the control room, and just visiting. He said, "Oh man, this is great," things like that, and and it went on for a few weeks where I just kind of become kind of buddies with this guy. Just text periodically, whatever you want to say, and he said, "Man, I'm gonna get one of my friends, one of my other producer guys. I'm gonna get you in contact with him. I think you really need to talk to him." And his name was Joe, and I talked to Joe a little bit. And about 2 weeks later, Joe got on a plane from New York and flew to Hazen, Arkansas, and he rode around with me for a day. And he absolutely said he fell in love with the town. We worked a little bit. We went and ate breakfast or drank coffee at the coffee shop, and we went and ate lunch, and he loved it. He said, "Man, we're coming." He said, "I don't know how we're going to do it, but we're coming." And he said, I'll figure it out. So, and then just a little while longer went on, and I actually started getting some emails from an attorney and some social media people, because before all this, we didn't have social media. We didn't have a Facebook. I had just picked up my personal Facebook account probably 6 to 8 months ago. I didn't even do Facebook. It was just, I just didn't like none of the negative stuff that people get on there about.
Yeah.
But then Joe called me and said, "Hey man, we want to put y'all on the 100th episode." He said, "Man, we can do that weekend. We're going to split up a camera crew." I said, "Man, awesome. Like, for real, you kind of like, awesome, but they're like, are you messing with me? It's like, are you being for real?" Yeah. I mean, and he was like, "No, man, I'm serious, dude. I'm serious." And I was like, "Well, all right." And they come down, and it was kind of just thrown together there for a second. And they come down, they sent a camera crew, and guys, these people they sent out to integrate with us that work. My first camera crew was awesome. I'm telling you, they were those guys, Chris, and David. And I had 2 guys named Chris. Man, I really didn't think, I couldn't get anybody, better to ride in the car with me that kind of, because law enforcement guys, man, we're kind of different. We just don't socialize well with, somebody that's, especially just sticking somebody in your car you don't know. It just, I mean, it's probably not just law enforcement, just anybody. You just want to put some weird guy in your car, you may not get along
with a camera, no doubt.
Yeah, with a camera, it's like, man, I really don't know this guy. And but it was wonderful. And then I guess the Southern accent and the way we interacted with people, and I'm sure the pursuit helped a little bit. And then we found some marijuana with them, and then that was funny because that we had been filming. We film on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. We do pre-records on those 3 days, and then Fridays we go live Friday and Saturday night. And the pre-records is just, I guess it's the way for them to have to work 5 days a week, but most of that stuff don't get shown because we've had hundreds of traffic stops on pre-record days that just don't get aired. But one of the ones where we found 100 pounds of marijuana got aired, and that was a Thursday night. And it was like we had several of those where we had gotten 7 pounds, 10 pounds of marijuana, 20 pounds of marijuana. And they were like, "Oh my gosh, that's the most we'd ever had." And I said, "Wait a little bit. We'll beat that. We get it all the time. It's no big deal." And then next night we got to 100 pounds. So they were like, "Oh my goodness, that's the most." And I think that had been the most on the show. But after that 100th episode aired, they were like, "Hey, we're not letting y'all go. Y'all are too big of a hit on social media. What can we do to make this work?" And that's why we didn't get off. They actually, my camera crew had to go back, and they were actually from Volusia County. They split Volusia County up a little bit that weekend, and they went back, and whoever the powers that be split up Wilkes Barr's camera crew, and they called them on a Wednesday or a Thursday and said, "Need y'all in Hazen, Arkansas tomorrow." So I got a whole new camera crew, and these guys are just as great as the first crew.
Awesome.
Man, yeah, I mean, I got Casey and Mandy and Kevin, and man, these guys are, and 2 of them, they're 2 of them from California, and Mandy's from New York. I was like, man, how's somebody from New York and California fit in with us Arkansas folks? But they do, and it's worked out, and we're going to be on for a while longer.
I got a question for you, because you mentioned that they found you through YouTube videos before on patrol. So you were actually had videos on YouTube before you even did that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There's some I don't know what you call it, and I may sound dumb for this or be even wrong, but I guess YouTube entrepreneurs or whatever you call it, where they get police videos, and they start them a YouTube page, and they put police videos on there. Most of them's chases and stuff like that. But I got a real good guy here that he runs a YouTube page that at first, I didn't really know him, and then we've kind of talked and connected, and and now we're kind of friends and stuff like that. But they ask for our videos and stuff, and we send them the videos. You know, it can just even be a simple traffic stop. So, and they put them on YouTube if they like them or whatever. So,
isn't that Arkansas police activity? That's one. Is that you guys?
No, I don't know who that is. You know, I don't. It's not anybody. I don't think it's anybody doing law enforcement, but I may be wrong. You know, I know the guy that runs Natural State Transparency. That's the guy I talked to. He's not a law enforcement officer at this time. And there's a couple of other ones out there. I don't really know those guys, but you know, they do, and they put those videos out there, and I guess they make money off of it.
That's funny that that you probably were like, oh yeah, you can use our videos, not realizing that it's going to create like all these different opportunities to actually come on this very popular YouTube channel, and now you're a celebrity. It's funny how the world works. You're a little bit of a celebrity now because
that's true.
Yeah,
you know, and it's just for doing what you do, which is great. You know, you don't have to. You just, you know, it must be kind of strange though, having people like that you don't, you know, have kind of not. I'm not saying you're obviously not, you know, like having people running towards you, like chasing you down the street like you're, you know, the Beatles or anything. But I'm sure you get sometimes where people recognize you and know who you are because of that, or at least on your Facebook page. So that must be crazy.
He gets weirdos reaching out to him, going, "Hey, will you come on our podcast for?"
yeah, exactly.
Which
it's crazy, y'all. Last Sunday after filming Saturday night, my wife had a vacation trip planned for us because it's been kind of crazy for the last month and a half. You know, I'm humping it 6 days a week out here. Friday's burning about 16 hours a day at work. And because I still have to work my shift. I have to cover my shift at work, you know, I work day shift Monday through Friday, 7 o'clock till whenever, you know. Most of the time my shift's 8 to 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., but I'm over here at 7:30 in the mornings. I'm doing the school traffic. And then if something goes on, you know, it's all hands on deck. But she had a vacation plan, so we took off Sunday and we went to Pensacola Beach, Florida, and got down there. And as soon as we come into Pensacola, we decided we was going to go to Walmart and get a couple, you know, snacks, sandwich meat, and things like that, some drinks, so we could just eat during the middle of the day at the beach. We wasn't in there 5 minutes, and somebody recognized me wanting to take a picture.
Oh, that's awesome. So here it is, Pensacola, Florida, out of your jurisdiction and area and everything, and they know you.
Yeah, eight hours away from home, and then, you know, we no sooner got to the hotel, and I run a whole load up. You know, I think my wife took me so I'd be the mule to carry everything.
Of course,
of course, yes.
Yeah, and taking it all to the room, and then I come back downstairs and come outside, and this lady's just looking at me kind of crazy, and at this point, I've done figured out what she's doing. She's not real for sure if it's me, but she's thinking if it's me. And if I talk and say something, she's going to know it's me. So I said, "Hey, how are you doing?" And she's like, "Oh my gosh, it's you." And so, yeah, so I mean, going 8 hours from home and getting recognized, and people, you know, just hugging you and wanting to take your picture, and, you know, saying thank you for what you do. You know, it just, you know, sometimes as law enforcement, you kind of wonder, are you really even making a difference? Are you doing what you know, what God's called you to do, or what you're even supposed to be doing? And when people do that, you know, you're like, yeah, I'm doing what I need to be doing. I don't know why yet, but it's working out.
Well, somebody on Facebook, Rebecca, said, thank him for being understanding when dealing with difficult people. So yeah, you got a lot of people that count. And then, and Alex asks, does he get scared when driving at those high speeds? Has he had training for that?
Never at all. Now, I say that. I did get nervous in this. I don't know if y'all watched last week's show where I chased a Dodge Hellcat.
Yes.
Yes. I chased that. And that actually happened right after air went off on that last weekend before they went on break. I mean, 11:04, we got the call of the pursuit. I don't get scared for me. I got scared because I had 3 other people in my police car. Man, it don't bother me. And then I'll just give you a little background, and so the people can know too. Yes, all my guys here at the police department are EVOC trained, which is emergency vehicle operation control. I don't know, it may have changed now, but at one time we were the only municipal police department in the state of Arkansas that had went through the state police training at the big driving track that they do now. Everybody gets it at the academy, which is very small, slim to none of what we got. It's a week-long course at the driving track of the state police, and it's no gimme course. If you're not caught up in where you're at by Wednesday, you go home and you got to tell your boss that you can't drive. I mean, you're not even good at it. But it is a very demanding course. It's well above 40 hours in a week. I think it's close to 80 hours. And me and Sergeant Dean, we also went back and we are instructors for the EVOC class. So we've had 2 weeks of this, 2 solid weeks, about 160 hours of the emergency vehicle operation control. We're all, they called it PIT certified at that point. We call it TVI now. The TVI just kind of changed up the name for it because PIT's precision and mobilization technique. If you know what a PIT is, ain't none of it precise. So they took out that wording for it because some of them are pretty ugly if you look at them and watch them and things like that. So they went to the TVI for tactical vehicle intervention because tactical can be ugly as long as it works. So, but yeah, we've all been trained, even all my guys, every one of them. I don't have one that's not been trained in that, certified in it to do all those things. Because there's so many times that you really need to end these things fast before somebody else gets hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when you said TVI originally, when I first heard you use it, I thought you said TBI, which is traumatic brain injury. So, I was like, huh, what? But then you explained that a little bit, TVI. So,
right. Yeah, it's TVI, and that come from Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma started using that first or whatever, and then we state picked up on it. Sometimes PIT still just comes out because we've been so used to saying PIT, so they're both the same. It's just different wording on how you're going to say you're going to do it.
Wow. That's I'll add another question for you on, I think it was on Friday's episode. You made mention about, there's a law in Arkansas where you can't smoke cigarettes with your kid in a car or something.
16 or under, you're not supposed to smoke. And, I don't know when I know that law's been in effect for a few years, and it's, kids can't, small people, man, you get going down, stopping these people going down the interstate. And I know back when I was a kid, you could walk into the restaurant and it looked like a bar room,
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. You go into banks.
You can go to McDonald's and they had aluminum ashtrays on the table. Everybody did it.
Or airplanes. Yep.
Yes, we didn't think nothing about it, but somebody passed a law, can't smoke in the kids with the car, stuff like that. And I try and I've never wrote a ticket for it or anything like that. I just try and then you're not gonna get stopped for it. It's just, hey man, be respectful of your children. Just step outside and smoke a cigarette if you got to. But half the time that they were smoking weed, and it's, if you go back to that traffic stop you're talking about, it didn't get cut on in time. But right before, when I walked back and I told that guy that I'm sorry it was his son, I thought it was a little girl. Well, right when Officer Walker had put them handcuffs on him, that boy got to crying in that car while I was sitting there looking for the marijuana. And he got upset, and he said he got upset his daddy was going to jail. So I walked back there and talked to the guy, and I told him, so I'm going to tell you something. I said, I'm going to take him handcuffs off you. I'm going to get Officer Walker to take him handcuffs off you. I said, and it's all because your little boy is crying thinking his daddy's going to jail. So we're going to take them handcuffs off of you, and you're going to put your hands back up front, and we're not going to lie no more. I said, because I smelled marijuana on you when I walked up here, and he had it in his sock because he wanted to lie about it.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me it was in the car. I said, it's not in the car. It's on you. I can smell it because, I can smell the difference in burnt weed and green weed. It just smells different.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I went back up there, and we took the handcuffs off of him. That's why when I went told the little boy, I said, "Oh, his daddy's not going to jail. He's probably going to get some tickets." And he was calm then. And I went back there and told him, "Hey, I didn't realize that was a little boy, because I told him his little girl was crying." And so I went back there and apologized for that and told him. And then I got into the no smoking in the car.
Ah, that's where that came. Yeah, because I just thought I've never heard that rule before. So I'm like, wow, I wonder, because obviously we're in Nevada, so anything goes. Well, I'm in Nevada, so
Yeah.
they do everything here.
Yeah, that's an interesting. That's one of those situations though where you hope that situation, seeing your son or your child, seeing you get in that situation, is one of those that'll smack you in the head and say, and not necessarily about, depending on how you feel about different recreational drugs and that kind of thing, but just the idea of doing that out in public with your kid, it just, hope maybe smack some sense into that dude. Like, that's the kind of thing that you hope that, like, being nice to him and being and kind of trying to be rational and just saying, hey, look, your kid's in the car with you. This is what can happen if you do continue to do this stuff with your kid in the car. Like, have some damn sense,
Right.
Maybe.
I mean, be an eye opener, just like, man.
Yeah.
Because that's the last thing as a parent any of us want to do as a parent, is break your kid's heart.
Yeah.
And there's been many times that I put people in the front seat of my police car having to take them to jail, and I didn't put handcuffs on them because, and I told them, I said, man, guys, you treat me with respect, and I'm going to treat you with respect. You've got to go with me. Your kid's going to be upset. I have no choice about that. But I'm not going to put you in handcuffs in front of your kids. Now, you act a fool, you can go in handcuffs behind your back, and your kids, because at that point it's all on you. I'm trying to give you a respectable way to just go to jail and not hurt your kids anymore, because I wouldn't want nobody to do that to me in front of my kids.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing. You'll see people driving drunk with the kid in the car, or getting high with the kid in the car, and it's just like, man, what the hell's wrong with you?
So, I mean, there's a place for everything, but I think it's pretty awesome though, like that you're able to do this. And like you were talking about before, how people are seeing, how you react. And it's a shame they took a lot of these programs off the air, at least on TV, because of all the bullshit that went on a couple of years ago, because you really are showing people a different side, of actual how it is and how people actually react, and that you're human beings as well. Like you said, you got people saying, I really appreciate what you do. Well, a lot of people wouldn't know what you do without these kind of programs. So,
and that's it. And people need to realize too, I got problems too.
Oh, yeah.
I got bills at home. I'm sure, me and my wife will argue too, just like anybody else. I'm running kids here. I'm running kids there, trying to do that. But then I've got to show up and try and fix your problems too. We're police officers. We don't make a lot of money. We don't. I got bills that I got to pay. Figure out how. I'm gonna rob Peter to pay Paul. Try and figure out how I'm gonna do this and do that. Just like anybody else. And then they want us to show up and be like, "Hey, well, fix my problem." I'm like, dude, I don't have mine figured out. Much less how am I gonna figure it out? You just try and be compassionate. That's the best thing I can do, and
go ahead.
Go ahead, man.
I was just gonna say, it's like I said, everybody who seems to deal with you, it's always positive. You don't have too many difficult people from what I've seen. Probably the most difficult one was the guy you were trying to give that breathalyzer to, and I guess you were familiar with him.
Oh yeah, Mr. Fry. I dealt with him. I dealt with him when I was Stuttgart days back in '97.
Wow.
Oh yeah, the Fry brothers down there. They had a big juke joint down there. We'd have bar fights. I mean, it was crazy back in the early 2000s, stuff like that. I mean, I'd be in a bar full of 100, 200 people down there getting ready to fight. It'd be crazy down there trying to arrest somebody, but yeah, I knew Tito from 20-something years back. So he knew me. He's Mr. Taylor, and that's what he called me. He's always respectful. But we'd actually got him called in on him. Somebody had called in on him saying he almost hit the bridge. So It wasn't like I just had pulled him over. We'd waited on him and we'd followed him for a little bit, and he was going across the white line. But he wasn't drunk, so I don't know.
Just below the limit, I think. But to get him to blow in that tube, you guys must have done that like 15, 20 times because he was doing it wrong.
Man, it seems like forever because, he couldn't pass. He wouldn't do the field sobriety test. So if he don't do the PBT, more than likely we're going to have to take him in. And then I got to tow his vehicle, cost him some money. And if you're drunk, it really don't bother me. But I'd punched that button, and one time he just barely got it, and I'm like, man, he's not quite that limit. I don't want to tow his car and go up here and do all this. But he finally, and he knew the game, and I knew he knew the game. So he was just ticking his tongue over thing. I said, all right, we'll play this as long as you want to, Theo. You're not going to upset me.
Right.
So
that's sad for someone that that you've dealt with in a different city that you worked in, and it's 20 something years later and he's still doing the same shit.
Yeah, crazy.
Some people never learn, I guess, man. Unfortunately.
Well, you deal with the same people, like even here. I've been here, and it's the same people. If we get the calls to the same house, and sometimes I just like, how many times are y'all going to call? I mean, like, we're the police aren't your babysitters, and but it's the same people. It's the same people in the court system. You could get a court docket and look, and you could get a felony court docket for the county, and you could look who we busted for drugs and different things like that, and you'll see, man, that's a common name, man. That's a common name, and it's because it's such a small community. We know everybody. It's not like law enforcement. We don't know who sells drugs. Everybody tells us. I've been here my whole life. Don't think somebody's not going to tell me, oh, so-and-so selling drugs, and then we do a big operation and we go bust them.
Yeah. Wow.
That's like the guy who spit on his grandma. That's another one where you
man,
babysitting.
Oh, that's DeAndre, and man,
Yeah.
I've dealt with DeAndre and his older brother Demetrius since they were 14 years old.
That's just...
And it's a nonstop with him. And grandma's the only person that's been taking care of them or letting them come over and get something to eat. And they've been kicked out everywhere because he won't get a job. He won't do anything. He just won't do anything. And I've dealt with him so many times, and just back even when he was in school playing football, I used to help coach the football, high school football up here. So I mean, he was a kid at one time. Now he's probably 30, but
Jesus,
it's all good if you want to holler at grandma if you want to. I think that's a lot of disrespect in my opinion. But if I knew I wouldn't have got in trouble on TV and saying I'd like to whoop his butt. I mean, and not literally just punch him out. I took my belt off and whooped him because he needed it. Because he just, and his grandma tried to whoop him, but he took off running. That's kind of how I felt. But I just tried to talk to him and tell him, now, DeAndre, this ain't cool. And I hadn't had any trouble out of him since that night. So I don't know if he's trying to do better or what.
wow.
Well, that was a couple of weeks ago. Give it some time.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah. I've seen him, but I hadn't had to deal with him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, this has been it's been awesome, man.
Been awesome. Oh, real quick, got to shout out. What's her name? Melita, your assistant. Melita,
Yes.
got to shout Melita out because she made this possible. So thank you, Melita, for your hard work and connecting us and getting us going. You got any social? You said you have a Facebook page and some other stuff. Anywhere people can follow you or any of that stuff?
Man, I'm trying to figure this Twitter or X, whatever it's called, out now. They've got me that, and guys, I'm not real social media savvy. I'm learning it. I have a personal social media, but I'm not adding people to that because I have pictures of my wife and my kids on there, and
Gotcha. Yep.
I'm just trying to be private about that with all that, just because my kids and my family and everything like that. But I do have a Twitter X now. I'm trying to figure out how to work it. So everybody just be patient with me and maybe I'll learn it. I got one of these young guys in here trying to show me how to do it because, you know, if your phone or your remote control for your TV don't work, give it to a young person. They can figure it out.
Well, you can always go to the on the Facebook and go to the Hazen Police Department, and then you can check out. You're on every week right now on the On Patrol.
Yes, sir. We're on patrol every week right now. We'll be on until I'm thinking the second weekend in November, and we're going to be on till then. And I think that's when deer season starts around here, y'all. And we're from the South, so deer season kind of takes precedence over on patrol, I think.
Gotta get you a buck.
Yeah. So, and we're going to be off for a little bit. It's you know, there's only 6 of us here, guys, and there's I have 6 of us here. And a lot of people are asking this. There's 6 guys here. One of those guys are resource guys. So there's 5 full-time police officers here, with one other one being a school resource officer. He patrols the school Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 3:30. He's at the school every day. Now he does come out and work and help in the evening times like that. And then I have 4 part-time guys. So, and those guys are all full-time law enforcement guys, and they come out and work, you know, on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays to help give at least 2 people out, a little extra coverage in the evening time. And granted, everybody got excited when On Patrol showed up, so you see more of us out on Friday and Saturday nights than you normally would. But, you know, it's just for the, you know, we're out there because the show's here, and we only have 1 camera crew. Everybody's like, why are they always showing Chief Taylor? Well, we only have 1 camera crew. They actually, I don't think they even had the funding to even put us on as long as they had, but they split a camera crew up. So we would still be on the show, and I appreciate them for that, because it seems like social media is really enjoying us. So that's, you know, that's a good thing for On Patrol guys. You know, the productions, Half Moon Productions, and all those guys, you know, they made it happen for everybody.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for. Go ahead.
One quick question: how come you guys never tell them, "Hey, it's on"? Because some people will say, "Am I on live PD or something?" And you guys just kind of go, "Oh, it's a documentary." You don't really tell them what it is.
Honestly, I don't know. That's what I was told. If there's somebody asked by them, it's just, hey, don't worry about them. They're documenting me. And they're doing a documentary or documenting me, and I think it's to do with so people don't show out too much.
Yep. That's what I was thinking. Yep, they don't want them to be like look at me and get attention and try to. Because
once I say they're documenting me, it kind of, the camera guy, if you notice, sometimes he'll come back to me, so it's more of filming me. So it's not really, hey, I'm not trying to highlight this person.
Yeah.
So I guess so they don't want clown or act a fool or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
Seekers.
Okay. Awesome. Well, Chief Taylor, this has been great. Again, thanks for hanging out with us and coming on. And this has been the Nothing Sacred interview with Chief Bradley Taylor of Hazen, Arkansas. I am Maxwell Silverhammer.
And I am Cruise Control.
And
that's the story there. Bitches! Later. Enjoy.
We are nothing sacred. We are nothing sacred. We are nothing sacred.
With Maxwell Silverhammer.
We are nothing sacred. With cruise control. We are nothing sacred.